Hey guys, it's Neon. We're going to talk about Batwoman, and she's not making the headlines that fans of the show were hoping for. She's making the headlines because the ratings are tanking. It must be all the trolls from Rotten Tomatoes tuning out, right? All those trolls on Rotten Tomatoes making sure the Batwoman fails, but Batwoman is not resonating with general audiences, and everybody's talking about it. Everybody, the Wrap is talking about it. TV sites are talking about it. If you go out to Deadline Hollywood is talking about it. Batwoman is down. She's down. So the question is, will Batwoman be canceled? Will she be canceled? And I have to wonder, with the way things are at WarnerMedia, I think it's a very real possibility that Batwoman will be a one-season wonder. And I have to wonder if the rest of the Arrowverse might not be behind her, to tell you the truth. Things are pretty dire over at WarnerMedia. They're cutting corners. They're canceling DC shows before they even begin. And there's word on the street that DC Comics itself might get canceled. They just don't want to spend the money on these shows if they're not bringing in the audience, not bringing in the ad revenue. I don't know. So we're going to talk about that on this episode of Clownfish TV. Don't worry, Geeky will be back. She's going to be back in a couple videos today. She's been very busy with all sorts of things. She's working on all kinds of stuff right now, and she's leaving me to run the store. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we hit 68,000 subs this week, I think. We're hoping for 100,000 soon, so we get that boost in Google and the YouTube algorithm, which keeps changing to seemingly favor large media conglomerates that have moved their content over to YouTube. That used to be once kind of the Wild West, where all the independent creators hung out, where all the independent voices were, and that's not the case now. So, all right, let's talk about Batwoman. This is coming from the Wrap ratings. Batwoman signal dims from debut. The bat signal is not shining brightly for her. She didn't shine as bright last night as it did with the prior Sunday's debut. Yeah, it was a pilot. People are going to check it out. Fortunately for ABC, Kids Say the Darndest Things didn't share that retention problem. God, that's pretty sad, right? People want to watch Kids Say the Darndest Things over Batwoman. On Sunday, the CW's latest superhero show shed about one-third of its week one demo rating, at least in terms of rounded Nielsen numbers. If extrapolated to additional decimal points, the drop-off from week to week was closer to a quarter of the series premiere rating in the key 18 to 49 demographic. The CW finished in last place last night. NBC won with Sunday Night Football. Of course it did. Of course it did. Now, the Wrap isn't going to a whole lot of detail. They're just talking numbers. Because there's been a lot of controversy about Batwoman. Accusations of review bombing from audiences, but it's getting harder and harder to defend the show, because even news outlets that you would think would be all about Batwoman, supportive of Batwoman, have been giving it mixed to negative reviews. There aren't a whole lot of really glowing reviews about Batwoman. I did covered an article on the Daily Dot last week when they were talking about all the review bombing on Rotten Tomatoes, and they're basically like, yeah, it probably is trolls, but to be honest, the show's not that good. And it gets harder and harder to defend shows, that clearly have some kind of agenda going on. But in the case of Batwoman, it's not the show so much as the marketing. Again, this is another case of, the show is not that great, but it's the marketing. The marketing immediately told people that this show was not for dudes. It was not for dudes. Dudes were bad. Women were good. It's time that women took over. And that just was not a good marketing move, regardless of what the actual message of the show is. When you beat that drum, when you tell one side of the aisle or the other side of the aisle, whether it's gender or politics or whatever, that you don't want them, then don't be surprised when they don't turn up, when they don't support your movie, when they don't support your show. And Batwoman, the marketing was bad. It was really, really bad. And then, people that you would think would support Batwoman, they were attacking Ruby Rose on Twitter because she wasn't gay enough to be Batwoman. So it's like, who is this show for? Who is this show for? I don't think the show's for anybody, and it's showing that people aren't watching it. And it seems like the CW Arrowverse shows are kind of declining in general. So here we go. TV Line has it. Batwoman slips in week 2. And again, they don't really talk much about it because I think they don't want to feed into the fact that the show's not doing well. But, you know, some comic book sites are very blunt. They're very blunt. Batwoman Supergirl ratings fall big time with second episode from Cosmic Book News. Regarding Batwoman following its season premiere having the lowest number of viewers for any of the DC shows on the CW. Now the second episode for Batwoman follows suit and sees a drop. Batwoman saw a drop of nearly 20% for episode 2, with only 1.46 million viewers turning in. Its rating dropped 0.3 to a previous 0.5. By comparison, 1.8 million viewers tuned in for the premiere episode. They're going to see what the big deal is about. The bad news continues as Supergirl also saw its ratings and viewership take a nosedive as the series follows Batwoman on Sundays. So they're not turning in for the Sunday night female superhero power hour. Power 2 hours, I guess. Supergirl saw less than 1 million people tune in with only 0.97 million viewers. Season 5 premiere episode from a couple weeks ago saw a 0.4 rating with 1.3 million people tuning in. The decrease is over 25% in terms of viewers. Fans are staying away from the CW. I think the CW is about over. I think the Arrowverse is about over. I think it's too much. This is my personal opinion. I followed Arrow. I followed Legends of Tomorrow. I followed The Flash at the beginning, and it's too much. It's too much. There are too many shows, and they're declining in quality. And now I have to admit, Crisis on Infinite Earths, I'm interested in that, just because they're gonna, you know, reach back into all the Warner Brother media, the movies and the TV shows, and bring us different versions of Superman and all of that, and Batman. I think that's pretty cool. That's a hell of a lot of fan service. But I'm so lost on the Arrowverse right now because I haven't watched in like 3 or 4 years that I have no idea what the hell's going on. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not going to know what's going on. So as much as I would like to check out Crisis on Infinite Earths and see how and if they can pull that off on the small screen, I feel like I'm so lost at this point that it's not really worth my time. But anyway, so Cosmic Book News says fans are staying away from the CW. The news of the poor viewership and ratings doesn't come as a surprise, as both Batwoman and Supergirl alienate their biggest fan base, fans of the original characters. Both shows have gone out of their way to make it clear they don't want the fans of the original characters to watch the show. Supergirl has seen a reference to not needing Superman in addition to the awful new costume and ugly look, and promotions for Batwoman have made it clear that Batman and males are in the wrong, with star Ruby Rose going so far to say as the show isn't for old white dudes. She said that? She said that? Holy hell, yes she did. Yeah, it's not for... There's plenty of shows for old white men. Yeah, she did say that. Now, it's funny because a lot of old white men came to her defense when Twitter attacked her for not being gay enough, but I digress. I'm not that old. We can probably assume that Legends of Tomorrow will go a similar route in the ratings, as that show has been pretty terrible lately. A shame, as it was one time my favorite. Actually, the first season was very good. It was very good, and then I just kind of lost track of it, and you know, there's too much. There are all kinds of rumors offering that both Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow will be canceled following Crisis on Infinite Earths, as Arrowverse gets a reboot. I don't want a reboot of the Arrowverse. Just make it go away. It's pretty clear that not even the CW can sustain the shows if the numbers do continue to drop like they're doing. Yeah, so Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow could still get canceled. I think they might. Crisis on Infinite Earths, to me, feels like an ending. It feels like a giant fan service. It feels like the end of something and the beginning of something else. Kind of like the original comic book series was, but you know, I think it's done. I think the Arrowverse is done. And I'll tell you why I think it's done. I mean, beyond the fact that the ratings are dropping, look at this. You know, the ratings are dropping. And it comes down to WarnerMedia. WarnerMedia, owned by AT&T, massively in debt, canceling shows before they even get started. Swamp Thing was canceled before it got started. I think there's a lot of reshuffling going on with DC and DC properties. WarnerMedia may look at this like, you know, is having a Supergirl show, having a Batwoman show gonna sell t-shirts? Is it going to sell merchandise? Is anybody watching Batwoman actually going to buy merchandise? Because these shows are hella expensive to produce. You know, they're very expensive. Superhero shows are expensive, and there's too many of them. I mean, it was fine when it was just Arrow, and then Flash, and now we got too many of them, and they're all expensive. So yeah, I think WarnerMedia being in debt is going to play heavily into this, and it does feel like Crisis on Infinite Earths is an ending. And you know, with the ratings in the gutter and Batwoman getting panned, this is a bad look. And they might just cancel everything and be like, let's either start over or take a break or something. But clearly what we're doing now is not working. I expect it. I expect a lot of cancellations. And I expect Batwoman to be among the first of the shows to get canceled, because it is not doing well at all. So again, just a theory. I don't want people to be like, oh my God, you said it was going to get canceled. Neener, there's more episodes. No, getting canceled doesn't mean that the episodes that are in the can don't get run. It just means that no new episodes are being produced. Let's be very, very clear about that, because a lot of times they have episodes in the can. The show's like Swamp Thing. The show's already in the can, you know, but they already run the episodes that are produced. So, just to be clear. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this one up. Gonna watch this train wreck from afar and see what happens. But yeah, I think it's time's up for the CW Arrowverse. In my opinion, I think we're nearing the end of the line. Talk to you later. Thinking about printing your own comic books, graphic novel, or manga? We recommend our friends over at Print Ninja. We've been using Print Ninja as long as they've been printing comics, and both the quality and price is excellent. Mention Clownfish TV and get an additional 5% overrun of your book order quantity printed for free. That's free books, people. Just mention this offer on the phone or in the additional information box on the quote request form. That's printninja.com, or click on the link in the description below. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.